Thebes, city of the living, crown jewel of Pharaoh Seti I, home of Imhotep, Pharaoh's high priest, keeper of the dead. Birthplace of Anck-su-namun, Pharaoh's mistress. No other man was allowed to touch her, but for their love, they were willing to risk life itself. So it's a rom-com. Welcome to Big Damn Love, where this week I'd like to envelop this movie in my adoration. I want to entomb it in my heart. I'd like to remove its organs and place them in individual canopic jars. It's The Mummy, we're talking about The Mummy. Not the 1930s classic from Universal, although one day, who knows, maybe. Also, not the 1950s version, that was a sort of remake, but mostly of later Mummy movies mushed together to make a new one. And no, not that weird new one where Tom Cruise screams like an otherworldly being. I'm talking about the 1999 Stephen Sommers directed action-adventure flick that's a remake of that older one I just mentioned a second ago, the Universal one.
I'll try to keep up.
When it comes to remaking movies, I'm not entirely against it. If the filmmakers approaching the project have an original direction, an original spin on the material, then let's see what they got. I mean, The Thing from Another World is a cool sci-fi flick, but John Carpenter's The Thing is a paranoia-drenched body horror masterpiece, and you don't get one without the other. Same with The Fly. So when it comes to The Mummy, the original motion picture was your classic tale of a mummy's tomb being desecrated and the titular cursed undead rising from the grave to take their revenge on those responsible, all the while searching for their lost love, whom they believe has been reincarnated into one of the main characters of the movie. Now the 90s version is much different because, wait, no, exact same premise. It's the exact same. The difference this time around is the genre. Taking a simple story and changing the style and tone of the tale really refreshed the concept, turning the age-old horror classic into a romantic action comedy with a horror spin. For years, Universal had been looking to remake their Mummy property as a flat-out horror once more, but when this version of the movie had been pitched, they couldn't say no. They even threw more money at it. It's the tale of Evie and Jonathan, a historical librarian and her con-man brother, taking part in an expedition to Hamunaptra, City of the Dead. Accompanied by brash American adventurer and gun-for-hire Rick O'Connell, they intend to find a mythical book that'll reveal all the secrets of the ancient Egyptians. But, thanks to Evie's curiosity and a rival group of cocky American treasure hunters, they instead unleash a terrible plague on the world.
Well, who is it?
He that shall not be named.
No, not him. That's the wrong one. Imhotep rises from the grave, quickly harvesting the Americans for their organs, flesh and the like to restore himself to his former glory, solidify his newfound cursed abilities, and seek out the reincarnated soul of his lost love, Anck-su-namun. Unluckily for Evie, he thinks that's her. It's amazing what a palaver you can cause by simply sneaking around under Anubis.
The legs of Anubis.
And if you look a little closer. For starters, this movie takes a huge gamble in casting the then mostly known for comedy actor Brendan Fraser in the lead role of the dashing rogue Rick O'Connell. It pays off, because Fraser carries the movie with aplomb, a natural charisma, and excellent comic timing amidst the swashbuckling and lady wooing. The lady in question is Evie, played by Rachel Weisz, played to perfection, and how do I say this? Is it wrong to suggest I'd like to be the good book she curls up with? Her character is sweet, curious, and really rather brave, considering she's just been plonked into the middle of this supernatural horror show like nothing she's ever seen before, and she is key to them planning their way out of everything and returning Imhotep to the underworld. Jonathan is good larks, played by John Hannah, every bit the lovable twat. Omid Jalili delivers a cracking performance as the warden guard Hassan, who releases Rick on the condition that he can take some treasure from the findings at Hamunaptra, and not forgetting Benny, Rick's former ally, who weasels his way out of death and being harvested by becoming Imhotep's own personal Renfield Barry Chuckle hybrid. There's Oded Fair as Artith Bey, leader of the Medjai, warriors tasked with keeping Hamunaptra a secret from the outside world, and to stop Imhotep from ever being disturbed. Spoiler alert, they don't manage it. And then there's Arnold Vosloo, who spends the majority of the movie a walking CGI corpse, but eventually turns into a beautiful, beautiful man. Mummy? More like daddy, am I right? Anyone up top? See, the curse was placed on the high priest Imhotep because of his affair with the pharaoh's wife and their murder of the pharaoh before Anck-su-namun kills herself in order to avoid capture. Imhotep promises to resurrect her when the time is right, but he is caught by the gods. They curse him with a live mummification known as the Hom-Dai, the single most evil and horrific of all fates to be bestowed upon a traitor, which turns out to be a terrible idea because the condition of it is that if he's ever awoken from his tomb, he will consume the world with the plagues and have supernatural abilities and strength and the power to resurrect things. Basically, it's the worst plan ever. It's like saying, yes, we will have the 9-foot-tall barbed-wired security fence to keep out intruders, but if they do happen to get over the top of it somehow, they will land into a skip that is filled with bags to conveniently fit all the things from inside our property in, and guns to take us hostage so that we don't fight back when they steal the television. It just doesn't make sense. Luckily, by the story's end, they managed to reverse the curse completely.
He's mortal.
Nice close-up. And get his soul dragged back into the afterlife. I adore this movie for its spirit of adventure, its romance, its subtle body horror, and its utterly daft tone. It's Indiana Jones meets Romancing the Stone. It's funny, frightening, and a cracking example of a brilliant popcorn movie. If you've never seen The Mummy, 1999 version, don't let it stay buried. So that's my big damn love for this week. Let me know in the comments what you think of The Mummy, and don't forget...
Are you not going to mention the sequels?
Oh yeah, suppose I should. Well, the threequel, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, is garbage, and the follow-up, The Mummy Returns, is it isn't too bad. Oh god, no! Kill it with fire! Kill it with fire! Ooh, ooh, ugh, ugh. Oh, it's worse than Lost in Space.
I am Henry Van Statten. Now recognize me!